We are live tonight doing tumblers. If you came here from a link that I shared, I apologize. I did something to that link and it didn't work. So we are on a new link here. Hopefully you can find your way to me and you can join me in sublimating some tumblers. I'm going to change the orientation of this screen just a little bit so you can see everything that I'm doing. If you are tuning in, let me know where you're tuning in from. Okay, I think that's a little bit better. Hopefully you can see what we're doing here. Okay, I am Sarah. I am the person behind Creative Ramblings. If you are a subscriber, you have probably seen some of our videos. We do a lot of sublimation. We also do a lot of lasering and Cricut crafts and all types of things. So before we get going on this, I am going to start printing one of our first graphics that we're going to share. This is a sublimation printer. It is actually an Epson printer that was converted to a sublimation printer. When you are sublimating anything, like one of these tumblers up here, you need to have special ink and special paper so that the ink can then go on to these tumblers. So once this prints, we're going to be able to make any of these pieces right here. And what we're going to make tonight is a straight-sided tumbler. And then we're also going to do some different shapes, some that have more of a curved shape. And we're going to use two different kinds of presses because there's a lot of different ways that you can do this. So I guess let's start at the beginning while this is printing. So if you are new to sublimation, let's talk a little bit about what that is. So we are printing with special ink on special paper right here. When you put this design onto a tumbler like this, the ink turns into a gas and it like sinks into these blanks. So unlike putting vinyl on a tumbler, when I feel this, this is completely smooth and soft. It's not going to fade, it's not going to crack, it's not going to peel. This is going to be on here really, really good. So if you have the ability to decorate a tumbler through sublimation, you're going to get some amazing results. But you have to have the right equipment to do it. So first off, we're going to print our design. Then we need some blanks. So we're going to do 3 different blanks here. There are a lot of places that you can get your blanks from. I like to get mine in bulk, but if you are just getting started, you can head out to Michael's. I actually just picked this little wine tumbler up at Michael's. It was on sale, so why not? This one was from Michael's too. You can even get them at stores like Walmart. Sometimes you might find that over in the craft aisle. So they make it pretty easy to get started. You can even sublimate on glass. As long as it's an actual sublimation blank, you can sublimate on glass too. So these are the 3 blanks we're working with today. When you sublimate, you need the printer, the special paper, and the special ink. And you need a blank that says it's a sublimation blank. They're hard-sided. And once you have the image, we're going to tape it on here, we're going to put it on here really well. You need to apply heat and pressure. And that makes the ink go from the paper to the blank. And there's our design. The heat sits around 400 degrees. And a traditional tumbler press squeezes the tumbler and pushes it on so that we have heat and pressure. We are also going to use an oven today, which is a really cool way to apply heat and pressure, but it does it in a different manner. This is new to me, and I have been using this more than any of my tumbler presses. So there's some really cool things you can do with this. So let's get our tumblers prepped. I am going to move the printer out of the way, and we'll do some prep. So if you want to say hi, if you have any questions about what we're doing, drop them down in the comments. I cannot see comments from here, but I have somebody who can let me know. I would love to know if you are familiar with sublimation, if you've done this before, if you're new to it. What questions do you have? I would love to chat with you about it. Okay. So we have a couple different things we're going to do. The first one, let's do this one first. Let's do this straw cup. So the first thing you want to do is remove everything that is not the base. So make sure there's no like pricing stickers or anything on the inside. We just want this. We can put this off to the side. We don't need that right now. I am going to cut out my images. When you print a sublimation image, it is going to look kind of dull. So on this one, I have a cute little logo with Wisconsin on it and some colors, but it looks really dull on here. The ink is always going to look dull on your sublimation paper. And then when we put it on the tumbler, it's going to brighten and it's going to look amazing. So I'm sure you have seen some tumblers out there that look kind of like this. This is called a full wrap, where the design goes all the way around. These are really cool to do, but they can be kind of difficult if you're just getting started with sublimation, because it can be difficult to line up the two edges so that there's no gap. So if you are just getting started, I recommend starting with some images like this, where this is just going to go on the front of the tumbler, and we don't have to worry about it wrapping around the back. So if you can add some white space to your image, that's going to be really helpful. I also have a design like this that we're going to wrap around this skinny tumbler here. This does wrap all the way around. This is a full wrap, but the background color is white. So if I don't perfectly line it up, that's okay. We're not going to really see that. We're not going to notice if I make a mistake. So the first thing I want to do is clean this tumbler. I'm going to use this handy little cradle here. You can also just set it down, but I really like this so it doesn't roll away. The first thing I'm going to do is clean it with a microfiber cloth and some rubbing alcohol, because I don't want the oils from my fingers to get in the way. We'll let that dry a little bit. Then I have a lint roller, and I'm pretty sure this is from Dollar Tree. It's my craft room lint roller. I have it just here for all kinds of things. And we're going to roll across the area where that image is going to go. Turn it this way for you. And there's actually some lint coming up. It's stuff that I can't see, but it's there. And if I sublimate over that, those little pieces of dust are actually going to show up in my design, and I don't want that. So now we're nice and clean. Now we're going to take our image and put it ink side down onto the tumbler, and we're going to tape it. We need to use what's called heat-proof tape. If you order a heat press of any kind, it's going to come with a sample roll of tape, but you want to make sure you're using heat-proof tape. If you use regular, like Scotch tape, this will melt in your oven or your heat press. So we're going to take a moment and make sure it's lined up really, really well. One of my favorite places to get designs, if you are just getting started with sublimation, is Creative Fabrica. Has anybody used Creative Fabrica? I love them. For like $47 a year, you get full access to millions of designs. And it's a great way, if you don't make your own designs, to just test it out. And you have these great things that you can sublimate with. So when we're putting the design onto the blank, we don't want any gaps underneath. We don't want any air bubbles. We really want to make sure it's on there really, really well. So I am going to push this down and kind of pull it as hard as I can and add that tape. If there are air bubbles or gaps between the paper and the blank, we're going to get like fading. We're not going to get really good color. So I can pull and then push it on. Now this particular tumbler is tapered, so it is not straight. So this isn't going to work in a traditional tumbler press. We're going to put this one in the oven. When you're using the oven, you do not need as much tape as you do with a tumbler press. So I'm just going to tape down the corners, and then there's another step we do to get it into the oven. All right. So before we go any further, we're going to turn on the oven. So this oven looks exactly like my air fryer. It is the same thing. It operates a lot like a desktop oven that you may have in your kitchen. The difference is this one is only for sublimation. Once you start putting a sublimation piece into an oven, the ink turns to a gas and it releases gases. You do not want to put food in that oven. So you can definitely go out there and get a tabletop kitchen oven and use it in your craft room. Just don't mix it back and forth. I like this one because it's super simple and it's made for sublimation. So I'm just going to turn it on. It has an upper heating element and a lower heating element. So a top and a bottom, and then it's got a tray that sits in here. For this type of tumbler, we need it to be at 365 for 6 minutes. And if I hold this button down here, that'll give me kind of a count up until we get to 365. As soon as this starts beeping, this countdown clock starts. So I need to have my pieces ready to go when that starts beeping. So we have this one ready. What's cool about this is you can put multiple pieces in here at the same time. So we are gonna prep the little wine cup here in the same way that I prepped the straw cup. And this was a design that I really liked. It says, no, it's backwards. I can't read it. It says, have a cup of cheer. It's a cute little design for Christmas. This I found on Creative Fabrica earlier, and I really like it. Where did I put my lint roller? Uh-oh. I tell you the importance of a lint roller, and then I misplace it. There it is. So this particular oven is made by Craft Express, and it's from Pro World. Pro World is one of those companies that just does everything heat press and sublimation related, and I have loved their products. So you can get the oven standalone, or if you're just getting into sublimation, they do bundles with kind of the oven and then a whole bunch of blanks and sublimation paper, and you can even get it with a printer. So really cool resource. This is linked down below. And I just found out that Pro World is starting their Black Friday sale officially on Friday, the 22nd. So if you're looking at that and you're like, hey, I think now might be a really good time to get a sublimation oven, wait till Friday and then go take a look. So this particular wine cup here, it's a little tapered. It's got kind of a bulge out here. So my design is going to fit just fine. But if you were going to do a design that went all the way around on this, you would want to cut your design into a tapered kind of fashion here. But I think we're going to be okay. And then we're just going to pull it really tight on the sides. And then pull it tight over here. We really just want to make sure that all of that ink is pressed really well against the cup. And again, if you have any questions while I'm doing this, please let me know. Love to chat with you. I used to be able to look at the camera and see the comments, and I cannot right now, for the life of me. So I'm thankful that I have somebody looking at comments for me. Okay, little extra tape on that one because it's curved right here and I don't want any gaps between the ink and the cup. All right, so that's ready to go. So we talked about how there are two elements to sublimating. You need heat and pressure. This oven doesn't have any pressure. So we need to create pressure around these cups. And we're going to do it with these. These are shrink wrap bags. And you put your cup inside. We're We're going to do that for both. These are probably a little larger than I need. They're going to work for now. And then I'm going to use a heat gun to shrink these down and kind of hug the cups. You can use any heat gun. If you have like a craft one, that'll work. And then I'm going to grab a couple things to protect myself in my work area. So heat-proof gloves, these come with any tumbler press or oven that you get, you will get gloves. And then I've just got a little hot pad to set this on. So, put my gloves on. Oh, and it started already and we're not ready. All right, we're gonna turn it off for just a second because I don't want that to start without me. So, the design is on this side. So I'm gonna hold that flat and then I'm just gonna turn on the heat gun and start to shrink this down. And I'm just gonna go back and forth. It reminds me of cellophane that you might put on a basket and shrink it down. And we're just gonna cover the whole thing. We'll get all this excess on here. Normally you don't want wrinkles, but on the back side where my design isn't, I'm not too worried about wrinkles. But on the front side here, where the paper is, that's going to be kind of wrinkle-free. So I'm excited about that. That's going to look really good. Anytime you sublimate, there is a lot of prep involved. But once you get going with it, the prep goes pretty quickly. And I do love that you can do multiple at a time in this oven. I'm just getting all the air bubbles out of here, so it goes on there really, really well. And we'll do the bottom a little bit. It's kind of satisfying to watch it all shrink up. Look at the top. All right, almost there. All right, I'm happy with that one. I'm gonna leave it on my hot pad. This tip gets really hot on here, so I'm gonna leave it on my hot pad. And we'll do the same thing with this one. These shrink bags are also from Pro World. It came as part of this bundle. And they come in all different sizes. So I have them small enough to do shot glasses. And these actually fit all the way up to like a 40-ounce tumbler. Which, if you take the plastic handle off, you can do a 40-ounce tumbler in that oven. It's a pretty remarkable piece. I've had a couple traditional tumbler presses, and we're going to pull that out in just a minute. And I feel like the oven here will do everything. Makes it really nice. All right, let's get the bubbles out. It kind of looks like a piece of candy. This is getting really warm, and it's a metal cup, so wear your gloves. All right, that's on there really well. I'm actually just gonna cut off some of these end pieces a little bit, because that was a really big bag for this piece. Now, we're gonna turn this back on, let it heat back up to where it was. Just a little bit of a ways to go. This will hold a whole bunch at a time. Ideally, you don't want them touching, or you don't want them touching kind of where the ink is, but we can put a couple in here at a time. The settings are usually going to come with your blank. The oven comes with a manual that has different settings in it, so I know that all of these metal sublimation pieces take about 6 minutes at 365. Some of the glass pieces, like these shot glasses here, need about 10 minutes to sublimate. But this guy fits in there. I did this last week. I have a short video on this. This is a 40-ounce tumbler. Just take the plastic handle off, take the lid off. There isn't a bottom on it. And these sublimate beautifully. This can't fit in a traditional tumbler press. All right. So if you, let me know, have you tried sublimation before? Have you done this before? If you are new to it or you're thinking about getting into sublimation, I have a whole playlist on from everything on how to convert the printer to making your first project. And you can sublimate on things other than tumblers too. So we can sublimate on shirts. Anytime you're using a fabric, it just needs to be some kind of polyester. But you can do this on so many different things. Tote bags, puzzles, mouse pads, all that stuff. It's very cool. We are almost there. And then we will get this guy prepped here. All right, nice and hot. Just set in here like we're baking. That countdown is going to start right away, and it's going to beep when it's done, and then it'll turn off. So now let's prep the straight-sided tumbler. So we've got everything off. We'll start with the rubbing alcohol, and we'll do the whole thing because this is going to be a full wrap here. But we've got the design that's got a little bit of white on it. So hopefully it'll be a forgiving design. So this particular design, I pulled this off of Creative Fabrica as well. There's a whole bunch of these. If you just go search, there is just a ton of stuff you can do. So we're gonna lay that down first and then put this on top. Now this particular tumbler, we're gonna do in a traditional press, not the oven. So we really need to make sure that this is taped really, really well. So we're gonna make sure it's lined up top to bottom and tape them together. So I can't just tape this to the tumbler here because the other side won't go then. So I have to really pull them together. This paper is very, very sturdy. It's not gonna rip. So I need to pull them together until they meet and then tape them. Almost, I'm telling you, it takes some strength. There we go. So once that first piece is in, the rest is a little bit easy to do. When you're printing designs, so when the designs come from Creative Fabrica or wherever you're getting your designs, a traditional sublimation printer will actually have software that helps you print. Mine is a converted Epson printer, so there's no software. So what I do is I download my images, make sure they're really good DPI, and I bring them just into a Google Doc. And then from there, I size them appropriately. So I measured the diameter of my tumbler. This is, I think, 9 1/4 around. And then I measured the height and printed it out in that exact size. So lots of tape, lots of pressure. Okay, I think we're good there. Now, even on this, we want to tape up here too, because I don't want any gaps where it meets the top. So we're gonna put a lot of tape on this. Again, make sure it's heat-proof tape so it doesn't melt. And you know what, before we tape that, let's pull out the actual tumbler press. So this is a traditional tumbler press. This particular one is from HTV Ron. Their machines are really, really easy to use. Let me just check my temperature. We're gonna set this to 390. So there's just buttons on top. I'm already set at 390. And then my time is at 120. This is an auto tumbler press. So what that means is I'm going to put my tumbler into this little slot here, and it is going to automatically open and close, which is quite nice. There's no manually pressing. I do have to rotate it though. There are some auto rotating presses. but it's easy enough to just go for about, we're gonna go for 120 seconds on this one, and then manually rotate it, and then go for another 120. What that rotation does is just makes sure that even heat and pressure was applied to the whole piece. And the pressure comes from just literally squeezing the cup. So on here, we used the bags for pressure. And on here, we're gonna use the actual squeezing. And this is almost done. I wanna keep an eye on the time here. But meanwhile, we tape. Anytime you're sublimating, have a window open, has some ventilation. Again, this ink turns into a gas and adheres to the tumbler. There is a very distinct smell that goes along with sublimation. It's good to have some ventilation. All right, we've taped it all the way down the side. We've taped the whole bottom and we've taped the top. So we're just gonna let that go. And I'm gonna bring back my hot pad and my gloves. As soon as this is done, I'm gonna pull these out and I'm gonna take them off while they're hot, if I can. I have just a Cricut weeding tool. The other thing you can use is just a little craft knife to slice that bag open. Just slice it where the paper is so you don't actually hit the tumbler. If you wait until this cools, the plastic gets rigid and it's really difficult to get off. Now that oven's gonna shut off right away. All right, don't get it on my table. So I'm gonna just cut along the paper and then I should be able to just pull. And I can even feel this through my gloves. This metal gets so hot. Make sure you're protecting your, not only your table, but your hands and anything else that it might touch. I can feel it getting rigid already. Come on. There we go. All right, so we got that. Almost. There. And then I'm going to get that off of here real quick. And then we'll pull the paper off and kind of see the final design. Okay, so that can sit for just a moment. They're still very, very hot. Now I'm going to take my weeding tool and just gently lift up some of this tape to reveal the design underneath. But I don't want to scratch that white on there. Ooh, that looks cute. Oh, that turned out so cute. So the colors are definitely more vibrant on here than they were on the paper. It's just a nice little pastel rainbow that says Wisconsin. I love it. This is still really hot. I'm going to leave that one here. And we'll do this one. Oh, that is nice and vibrant. So this was intended to be pastel colors, but this one was supposed to be nice and dark, and it turned out so good. A tapered cup like this, or this one, you're not able to do in the tumbler press over here to my right, because it's only for straight-sided items. So I love that with the shrink wrap bag, we got just beautiful color on there. And even right here where it bows out, that looks so cute. All right, we're gonna let those cool down. Get rid of some of my garbage. Oh, look at that, our tumbler press is heated up. Okay, so for the tumbler press, my seam right here, I don't want it facing up. There is a little bit of gap when this closes. So I want my seam to face one side or the other. Let me turn this way. So we just slide it in, and then I hit the start button. Closes up automatically. So there's just the tiniest little gap in there. We're gonna let that go for 120 seconds, rotate it, and then I can just hit the start button again and go for another 120 seconds. So sublimation takes some time. There is a lot of prep, so I had to find the designs first. But if you're creating your own artwork, you kind of already have the designs. Then I had to print them. I had to prep them, prep the cup, put them on the cup, add all the tape, put them in here. Oh no, oh no, no. Oh, I hope you didn't mess it up. Okay, we're gonna try that one more time and just really hope that I didn't mess that up. All right, we're gonna turn the time down a little bit. Okay, it's plugged in behind me and I leaned on the cord and I unplugged it. Don't do that, you'll mess your thing up. So I turned the time down a little bit. I think we're gonna be just fine. You can overheat a sublimation blank. You have to really, really overheat it to get some damage. More often than not, if you have a sublimation piece that comes out that's kind of faded or blurry, it's called ghosting, you probably underheated it or didn't tape it enough. But it's kind of hard to overheat. Okay, so back what I was saying. It's a lot of prep to get to sublimation, but a cup like this with all of these kind of different colors on here and with that perfectly smooth feel, you can't really get that with vinyl, which is the other way that we would decorate a cup. It's too detailed to do with vinyl, and then you end up ruining it when you're washing it. Something like this, as long as the blank is dishwasher safe, then you can dishwasher this. But I'm not sure I'd put these in the dishwasher anyway. I honestly didn't look at the little tag I pulled off the bottom, but we know that this is going to stay on there really, really well. We can go ahead and put our covers back on. That's the wrong cover. There we go. If you make your own artwork, ooh, let's flip that. Okay, before I rotate it, I'm going to up the time because I changed it a little bit here. Okay, so I'm just going to grab it with my gloved hands, rotate it all the way around. So the seam was facing that way. Now it's facing that way. We're going to go again. If you make your own artwork, if you are a graphic designer, if you make your pieces, sublimation is an amazing way to get your artwork onto physical products so that you are able to sell your physical products with your own unique artwork. Sublimation is just a really cool way to do that. And not only can you do it on cups, but you could put it on shirts, on mouse pads, on ornaments. I have a ton of ceramic ornaments that I'm sublimating this year. I actually have a great video on I don't want to unplug this again, on how to create your first sublimation project. And in that video, we do ornaments. So customized ornaments that I actually ended up using as gift tags last year. So I just attached them instead of like writing out a sticker. I attached the name ornament to the gift, and then the person gets to hang it on their tree. So once you have the stuff, once you have the printer, once you have a heat press, you're kind of good to go. So if I was just getting started, let's see how hot this is. I'm gonna move these over. If I was just getting started, if I was just getting into sublimation, I would absolutely go the printer route that was sitting up here before. It's an Epson EcoTank printer. It's a little over $200. And then I purchased sublimation ink, took out the old ink, put in the new ink, and turned it into a sublimation printer. It's a really budget-friendly way to go. I got a big pack of sublimation paper. Looks like this. There's 110 sheets in here. I've actually seen this on TikTok Shop. You can get some really good deals on this. And then, depending on what you want to do, you need a heat press. If you want to do shirts and mouse pads and flat things, you're going to need an actual like flat heat press. I don't have one in the shot right now. All right, let's get this thing out of here. I don't need to rush too much to pull that off, so I'm going to wait just a minute until it cools. Now we can unplug this. If you knew that you only wanted to do straight-sided items, even glass ones like this, as long as they are flat on the sides, or even coffee mugs. You can do coffee mugs and something like this. If you know that you only want to do straight-sided items, a tumbler press like this is a great way to go. This is, I want to say this is under $200. And coming up on Black Friday, there's going to be some really good deals on this tumbler press. If you think you might want to do other items, so if you want to do big things like this, or small ones, like I love how that turned out. If you want to do anything like this, or if you are doing this for a business and you find yourself making a lot of the same item, it's more effective to use an oven. This oven right now, standalone, is $219, and I know there's going to be some amazing deals on the bundles coming up on Black Friday. So, as always, I think in every review video I do, when I talk about recommending a product, the first question is, what do you want to make? What do you want to do? And then that should dictate what you end up purchasing. This is so much easier to get off because we're not dealing with a shrink wrap bag that's on here. Ooh, and it's looking cute. You can see it already. It's kind of this, I don't know, I think they're kind of fall flowers. We want to make sure everything's pulled off. And I think I met my line pretty well in the back. But again, even if I messed it up a little bit, I've got some white space to make up for it. Ooh. Don't do this without heat-proof gloves. That is so hot. How cute is that? That one is adorable. I really like that. When you print out these designs, you don't often see the whole thing because you get kind of a faded ink when you first print it. But this looks really cute. It's actually got a neat background that I didn't see before. So that is a fun little tumbler for fall. Lots of mess, lots of heat. It's very warm in here now. So we sublimated some tumblers. We did a straight-sided one. Not quite yet. We did a straight-sided one. So straight-sided tumblers and glassware and sublimation is fantastic in a traditional tumbler press. Anything that is not straight up and down, go with an oven. You are not going to regret this. I kind of wish I would have gotten one of those earlier. If you want to do sublimation on a shirt, like something like this, you're going to need a flat heat press. Any questions? I don't think I saw any questions come through the comments, but if you do have any questions, you can always comment and let me know. And if you want to know more about sublimation, I do have some videos linked down in the description. And then I have all the products that we used today linked down there as well. I've mentioned a couple times we're coming up on Black Friday. And if you have been thinking about getting a craft machine or stocking up on some materials, there are some amazing deals. So I have a newsletter going out tomorrow with all the Black Friday deals. I have found that most brands are starting Thursday or Friday of this week, and then those sales are going to run through the end of November. So already we're going to see some really good deals. Both of these will be on sale. Like I said, this one starts Friday. HTV Runt makes a ton of heat presses. They make this tumbler press, and they make flat heat presses. Next week, Friday, on Black Friday, I'm going to be live at noon Central Time, and we are going to be talking about their flat auto press and this tumbler press. And we're going to make a bunch of Christmas projects. We might do some sublimation, but I think I'm going to be working with HTV as well and just show you kind of the whole range of what those machines can do. And next week, Friday, HTV Runt is going to have some phenomenal deals, and there will be a giveaway. So early next week, I will have that link up on my channel so you can go ahead and get notified when I go live. And I hope you'll join me so you can win a little heat press for yourself. Thank you so much for watching. I'm so glad you came, and this was really fun. I hope you learned something, and please do consider subscribing. I am here every week with videos on craft machines and tutorials helping you move forward in your creative journey. Have a fantastic evening.